people say he's done something that goes beyond the pale, he will shake his head and give this answer without fail. A hoax, he says it's all a hoax. When at a press conference or with misspelled keystrokes, he says he tells no lies and that he never jokes. Confronting with the truth, he'll say it's all a hoax. A modern Don Quixote, he hates the windmills, claiming to protect the birds and whales he says they kill. But don't believe that story, it's really just a shill. He just did not want to see them wild golfing on Scottish hills. A hoax, he said it's all a hoax. When at a press conference or with misspelled keystrokes, changing a storm path with black marker strokes. Confronted with the truth, to say it's all a hoax. Casting mail-in ballots is something that he's done. Now he wants to ban them for each and every one. He claims it's for integrity in each election, but he won't believe the results unless it's him that's won. A hoax, he says it's all a hoax. When at a press conference or with misspelled keystrokes, they'll fool you with distractions like real sugar in cokes. Confronting with the truth, you'll say it's all a hoax. He promised to release all the Epstein files that caused all the MAGA base to react with smiles. But how long has he put it off? It sure has been a while, and now he's calling this a hoax, protecting pedophiles. A hoax, he says it's all a hoax. When at a press conference or with misspelled keystrokes, he'll keep on gaslighting up until he croaks. Confronted with the truth, he'll say it's all a hoax.
Trump piled debt, trillions tall. Promised Mexico would fund that wall. Praised dictators, said they're strong. Had Joe done it, they'd say he's wrong. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would flip. Had Biden done it, that screen fell play. But Trump did it, so it must be okay. Goes through crises, storms and war. Called soldiers losers who died in war. Hire his kids to run DC. If it was Hunter, they'd scream treachery. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, Fox News would say I'd evade. But Trump did it, so it must be okay. Love Kim Jong-un, he wrote love letters that take the guns first, lose those rights forever. Signed you spending bills with glee. Had Joe done that, it'd be tyranny. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, they shall look today. But Trump did it, so it must be okay. Kept secret files, countless untold. Said Putin's word was good as gold. Invited the Taliban to come to U.S. soil. If Joe had done that, they'd all recoil. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, they'd want him to pay. But Trump did it, so it must be okay. Double standards, loud and clear. Rules for Trump, but not for peers. What they call treason, if Joe's the name, is patriotism when Donald's to blame. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would slip. Had Biden
This just in. A sudden spike in logic levels across the city. Citizens report seeing a man with glasses and a podcast mic. We go now live to Liberal Dan.
Who you gonna call when Nazi writings on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, cause you know we got a plan. The right wing talking shit, but he ain't about to quit. He'll take his proton pack and zap your logic cause it's whack. So who you gonna call when the writing's on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, and the rhetoric will fall.
It's being reported that Liberal Dan is setting up what appears to be some sort of straw man containment field.
Calling out your lies with his mic, he'll vaporize. Cross the streams in your dreams, bitch, you know that he's too wise. You're like Slimer talking crap, but you walked into his trap. Yo, it's more than entertainment, it's misinformation contained. So who you gonna call when the writing's on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, and the rhetoric will fall. The Statue Liberty, the writing you can see. So bring the huddled masses, it's a war of the classes. While Trump may think he's Vigo, Dan can cut through that ego. He's got the facts to prove him wrong, got that logic like Egon. Your logic is a ghost, cause you know this chick is toast. When you follow MTG, it's conspiracy, you'll see. There's no need to taser, he's got wit like Occam's razor. Liberal Dan cuts those lies with his Jewish-based laser.
It's unbelievable. Liberal Dan just used the literal dog whistle to lure a large group of internet trolls into what is being called a self-collapsing rhetoric singularity. In all my years of reporting, I've never seen anything like this.
So don't call to be a heckler, you ain't no Judge Rexler. He'll bust you like Scolary, cause your logic's looking hairy. Right-wing callers think they're cool, but they sounding just like Zool. You the dog, he the man, and yo, his name is Liberal Dan. So who you gonna call when the writing's on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, and the rhetoric will fall. Liberal Dan, Liberal Dan, Liberal Dan.
Proclaimed king, a groper in chief, stealing our country, a crooked orange thief. Faux patriots who are poorly educated, wearing red hats and also unvaccinated. Liberal Dan will see us through. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite. Liberal Dan Radio, talk on the left, that's right. A failing media that's barely treading water. They're too inept to fight this new world order. Corporate pigs are at the trough, hear the squeals. The swine won't bite the hands that feeds them meals. But Liberal Dan will see us flow. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite. Liberal Dan Radio, talk comes the left, that's right. A leftist voice on air, exposing MAGA treason, breaking through their lies with facts, logic, and reason. Unmasking hypocrisy, the truth will be our guide. Call out their lies, justice is on our side. Cause Liberal Dan will see us through. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite. Liberal Dan Radio, talk on the left, that's right. Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left, that's right.
And welcome to Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from the Left. That's right, this is your host, Dan Zimmerman, coming at you live from New Orleans, Louisiana. To join the conversation, it's either on liberaldanradio.com or twitch.liberaldanradio.com. Either way, it will get you there. Thank you to all the supporters of the show. Thank you, Aaron and Jolie, for being the best mod squad on the planet. Thank you, Orvillaby over in Twitch. We've got Jeff from Just North Uranus, Steve from across the pond.
No Scottish, it's crap.
Molly is here. Let's see who else. Fancy is in the house. The Goddess Kimchi is here as well. All hail Goddess Kimchi. Who else am I missing? Aaron has been a Danimal for 24 months. Look at that. It feels like just yesterday. Dean Baker is here. Jan. Who else? Roxanne. You don't have to put on the red light. Anyway, yes, and Christine, good to see you too. Thank you. Yes, smack that like button, hit share, all that good stuff. Hey, 250 kilo ohm over on Twitch as well. Let's see, we traded Greenland for the Virgin Islands. I bet you Europe took a fat, as I said, whatever. We can cash on all our U.S. bonds. Nice. Let's see. Let me just look up something real quick, and we'll, I mean, if Trump was involved with the Virgin Islands, it would probably no longer be the Virgin Islands anymore, just be the islands, but that would depend on whether or not you consider grabbing somebody by the hoo-ha, a de-virginification event, or whatever. Anyway, of course, they want. He kept on talking about Greenland, and he was really talking. He really was saying Iceland, even though he was talking about Greenland, because he's a dumbass. And his propagandist in chief was, he clearly. He only said it was a block of ice. He didn't call it Iceland. We have ears and eyes, and we can see and hear, and we know your president is a dumbass. So shut the f up. So anyway, the many gulfs of Epstein. Yes, Orb Rumor. Thank you, and thank you for joining the show, Orb Rumor, as well. It's probably going to be a shorter show today. I am going to be going over some of the Jack Smith hearings, but we're not going to be doing everyone, and we're not going to really be airing them in any particular order. But there are some of them that I really wanted to comment on as I was listening to it while working over the course of the day today. But also, I wanted to just kind of, just go over a couple of things. And this may not be a very long show. I'm just tired, stressed looking at all this stuff. Hey, Big Hook, good to see you as well. Missing anybody else? I don't think so. But shout out to the current active Liberal Dan Radio patrons. Arizona Sunflowers, Robert Reynolds, Jolie, and Aaron are all Liberal Dan Radio patrons. To become a patron and support the show monthly, it's patreon.com/liberaldan or patreon.liberaldan.com. Either way gets you there. You can also support the show Venmo, Liberal Dan. Go to liberaldan.com, click the Buy Me Cider button, or go to buymecoffee.com/liberaldanradio. Buy super chat, super stickers here on YouTube. You could also gift subscriptions or gift memberships to let other people be Liberal Danimals, or you can be a Liberal Danimal yourself. Over on Twitch, you can gift subscriptions. You can buy a subscription. You can get a free subscription with Amazon Prime every month. As well, you can also gift bits or whatever. So, again, thanks everybody for being a part of the Liberal Dan Radio family. Thank you so much. What is going on? Chad, good to see you as well. So we are going to go over some of the hearings from Jack Smith's testimony in front of Congress. And again, this is done in no particular order. But let's see Mr. Smith go into Washington and see what he has to say in his opening remarks first, and then we will go alternate between Democrats and Republicans. Again, not in any particular order, just the kind of the order I felt like, because I just went into the other, like PBS or whatever, and I just found, here's the testimony or the questioning from this person, and here's it from this person, lather, rinse, repeat. So, hey, Michael, good to see you as well. I feel like I'm about to pass out, like just tired. So, but we're going to try and muscle through the show. I do potentially have maybe good news on the personal life, but we're not going to jinx it. We're just, keep sending good thoughts my way as it pertains to that. And we'll go from there. Aaron and Jolie know, but I actually had another interview today. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, let's go ahead and start the show, shall we? Let's start the meat of the show, the content of the show. Or Boomer, Ivana Peace Plan, as seen on Austin Powers. Oh, behave. Yes. Good to see you, Petrazi, as well. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Michael says, take it easy, Dan. It's okay if you have a short show and all. Thank you. Appreciate it. I do want to try and give quality content out, but I didn't see Hal going. I don't figure we're going to have a raid today. I think I've had 4 raids in the last 10 days from Hal. It's been wonderful. So I hope that keeps up. That could only help the algorithms, right? Because Algor needs more rhythm. I guess the other way to support the show, besides liking, sharing, commenting, etc. on the content, which is the best way to do it, there's also the Liberal Dan Radio store linked to from each and every YouTube video. So go check out those YouTube videos and click on the Buy Me a Shirt and get yourself a shirt, either a Man of the MAGA or the base one, the Liberal Dan Radio base shirt, or the other ones like the FDT or blanking, the Al Gore Needs More Rhythm shirt or whatever. I guess that's the one. Anyway, so again, thanks everybody. Hey Dawn, good to see you as well. Thank you for joining. Let's go ahead and flip on over to the Jack Smith opening testimony. We'll go to his opening statement, which could very well have come before. I didn't watch the whole thing from the beginning, but it could very well be that this aired after some of the other clips, but we're just playing them in this order. We're going to start off with Jack and then going to go back and forth between Democrats and Republicans. So that's the way we're going to roll today.
It is what it is.
Thank you, Donald. Anyway, let's go ahead and hear Mr. Smith going to Washington and his opening statement.
Chairman Jordan, Ranking Member Raskin, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to discuss my work as special counsel. I love my country and believe deeply in the core principles upon which it's founded. For nearly 3 decades, I've served as a career prosecutor in both Republican and Democratic administrations. I've handled cases ranging from domestic assault and gang violence to public corruption and election crimes across the United States, and I've prosecuted war crimes overseas. I am not a politician, and I have no partisan loyalties. My career has been dedicated to serving our country by upholding the rule of law.
And that's great that he does that, because we need people who are nonpartisan, but I can't imagine sitting there and be like, I'm going to be nonpartisan, especially whilst Trump and his goons are out there doing their bullshit. So, I don't know. More power to Mr. Smith, I suppose, for doing that.
Throughout my public service, my approach has always been the same. Follow the facts and the law without fear or favor. Experienced prosecutors know that specific case outcomes are beyond our control. Our responsibility is to do the right thing, the right way, for the right reasons. These principles have guided me through my career, including as special counsel. I'm proud of the work my team did, and I appreciate the opportunity to appear here today to correct false and misleading narratives about our work. During my tenure as special counsel, we followed Justice Department policies, we observed legal requirements, and took actions based on the facts and the law.
Orb rumor. Many people are calling him No Malarkey Jack. That's amazing.
I made my decisions without regard to President Trump's political association, activities, beliefs, or candidacy in the 2024 election.
And see, the Republicans are never going to believe that, because the Republicans do everything that they do it for Trump, to cite the a-hole Bryan Adams. Anyway, let's continue.
President Trump was charged because the evidence established that he willfully broke the law, the very laws he took an oath to uphold. Grand juries in 2 separate districts reached this conclusion based on his actions, as alleged in the indictments they returned. Rather than accept his defeat in the 2020 election, President Trump engaged in a criminal scheme to overturn the results and prevent the lawful transfer of power. After leaving office in January of 21, President Trump illegally kept classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago social club and repeatedly tried to obstruct justice.
He also showed them illegally at Bedminster, but, you know, hey, who's counting?
To conceal his continued retention of those documents. Highly sensitive national security information was held in a ballroom and a bathroom. As I testify before the
And it's the best ballroom. No one's seen a better ballroom, at least until we build the one in the East Wing.
committee today, I want to be clear. I stand by my decisions as special counsel, including the decision to bring charges against President Trump. Our investigation developed proof beyond a reasonable doubt that President Trump engaged in criminal activity. If asked whether to prosecute a former president based on the same facts today, I would do so regardless of whether that president was a Democrat or a Republican. No.
And good, again, that's good, but the Republicans are never going to believe you simply because of the fact that they believe that everything is partisan in nature and can't imagine somebody doing something because it's the right thing to do. So, hey, Teresa, good to see you. Thank you for joining.
No one should be above the law in this country, and the law required that he be held to account, so that is what I did.
Is there somebody else who said no one's above the law?
No one is above the law in this country.
Oh, Pam Bondi once said that. Of course, she was full of shit, and Jack Smith is believable.
To have done otherwise on the facts of these cases would have been to shirk my duties as a prosecutor and as a public servant, of which I had no intention of doing. I remain grateful for the counsel, judgment, and advice of my team. President Trump has sought to seek revenge against career prosecutors, FBI agents, and support staff simply for having worked on these cases. To vilify and seek retribution against these people is wrong. Those dedicated public servants are the best of us, and it has been a privilege.
It's wrong, but he should also say it's treason, but I mean, he's not going to say that, but still, I'll say it.
To serve with them. After nearly 30 years of public service, including in international settings, I have seen how the rule of law can erode. My fear is that we have seen the rule of law function in our country for so long that many of us have come to take it for granted. The rule of law is not self-executing. It depends on our collective commitment to apply it. It requires dedicated service on behalf of others, especially when that service is difficult and comes with costs. Our willingness to pay those costs is what tests and defines our commitment to the rule of law and to this wonderful country. Thank you.
Wait just a second. We have one.
All right, so we're going to do that. Let's flip to the next one that we're going to do, which is Jim Jordan's opening testimony, and or comments, or his questions, I guess, on Jack Smith. Well, let's see what this idiot has to say.
The gentleman yields back. Mr. Smith, is Cassidy Hutchinson a liar? She was their star witness, January 6th committee, their star witness in one of those staged and choreographed hearings they paid the former president.
Staged and choreographed because why? You don't like the result and what the conclusions that they came to? You know.
Of ABC News to put together. She was, in fact, the only witness at this special prime-time hearing, Tuesday, June 28th, 2022, 8 o'clock in the evening, and she told some stories. I mean, these were some stories. She talked about President lunged across the back seat, grabbed the steering wheel, tried to drive the car to the Capitol.
And why isn't that believable?
And I
mean, maybe you might think he's not able to make such drastic maneuvers, but still, it's believable that he would want to do that sort of thing, so I believe it. It's credible. You don't believe it because you're an ass-kisser of Donald Trump.
I just want to know, you think she was lying?
Chairman Jordan, my assessment of that particular issue is that with respect to the testimony about the president lunging towards the driver, my recollection of her testimony about that is that it was secondhand. She had said she'd heard that from somebody.
You familiar with the name Tony Ornato?
I'm sorry, sir?
You familiar with the name Tony?
That's the annoying thing about the Republicans. They won't even let you finish a goddamn sentence. They won't even let you finish one. They have to interrupt you and say, oh, you know this person. Oh, you know this person.
Ornato?
Yes.
White House Deputy Chief of Operations, Deputy Chief of Staff for Operations, right? You remember what he said about it?
As I sit here right now, I do not.
Yeah, he said it didn't happen. How about Bobby Engel? You familiar with that name?
And if he said it didn't happen, it proves it didn't happen, right? Because nobody would lie on the behalf of this president, right? Bullshit. Anyway, let's continue.
Yes, I am.
Secret Service agent who was actually in the car that day, you know what he said? He said it didn't happen. And they both said the first time they ever heard this story was when Ms. Hutchinson testified in the primetime hearing as their star witness of the January 6th committee. By the way, did you ever confirm her testimony about this particular incident?
We conducted, as I said before, our own independent investigation of all aspects of the case that we thought was relevant. We, attorneys from my office.
Did you ever confirm it? That's a simple question.
Well,
it's a question. I'm going to ask it to you, but not going to give you time to answer it. I'm going to jump to the next question once I feel like I'm not going to get the answer that I want. So, you know.
We interviewed, or I should say, attorneys in my office before.
Did you ever confirm the president
there you go.
leaping across the seat, grabbing the steering wheel, this whole concoction she brought up in the January 6th hearing? Did you ever confirm that?
Right. We interviewed another firsthand witness who was in the car who did not confirm that had happened, but also
in your deposition to the committee
again, interrupting, so you can't, get it. He can't get a word in edgewise.
Last month, Mr. Smith, you said this: my recollection with Ms. Hutchinson was a number of the things that she gave evidence on were secondhand hearsay. You remember making that statement to us last month in the deposition?
I did, and I was referring particularly to what we're talking about now.
Yeah, and you also said Ms. Hutchinson, regarding this particular claim, was a second or even third-hand witness. We asked you, if you were a defense attorney, how would you handle cross-examining her if she was on the witness stand? And you said, if I were a defense attorney and Ms. Hutchinson were a witness, the first thing I would do was seek to preclude her testimony because it was hearsay. You remember saying all that?
Yes, that's correct, sir.
That's correct, right? Were you going to put her on the witness stand if you ever got to trial?
We had not made final determinations as to who we were going to call as a witness. We had a large...
You were still considering her?
We had a large choice of witnesses in this case.
And maybe she could have been a witness for something else other than that, because she wouldn't have been a witness to that particular thing, because it would have been, as they said, hearsay. So you can't bring somebody up on the stand to bring up hearsay, but maybe she witnessed other things that you might want to talk about. She spoke in D.C. at the January 6th hearings for a rather long time, and it wasn't just on the issue of whether or not Donald Trump lunged at the steering wheel to try and get the Secret Service to turn the car around. There was plenty of other things that she discussed as well.
Are you familiar what Washington Post reporters Carol Leonnig and Aaron Davis said in their book? They did this book, 300-some pages book on Chronicle and the whole investigation of the Justice Department. And here's what they said. On page 310, they said Jack Smith had wondered whether some of Hutchinson's claims might be relied upon at trial. Still, at one point, Smith told the elections team he wasn't ready to give up on Hutchinson's account. Ultimately, however, Trump administration officials uniformly, fiercely disputed her accounts under oath. Prosecutors on your team told Smith they wouldn't want to use Hutchinson.
Oh, no, they lied. They told something under oath, and they would have never lied under oath for their president because they're not sycophants for his dumbass, would they?
Hutchinson as a witness in court, and Smith agreed. Are Carol Leonnig and Aaron Davis, who wrote this, are they lying?
My recollection is that I certainly had not made any final determinations about who we were going to call.
And that's the point. That is the point. The fact that...
How is that the point? You're criticizing him for thinking of doing it, but no final determination has been made, so therefore he wasn't convinced whether or not to put her on the stand or not. So you can't make any accusations that him putting her on the stand would have been bad because he didn't make the final determination if she would have gone on the stand or not. You're a dumbass. This should be embarrassing to people. Like, this behavior right here should be absolutely embarrassing to people, but I don't think MAGA folks are at all capable of any sort of shame or embarrassment or whatever. So
they used her in a primetime hearing, and you won't rule out using her, or didn't rule out using her, putting her on the witness stand when everybody knows she wasn't telling the truth. That says it all.
saying something that you heard third hand is not saying that she's lying. It's saying that she heard this third hand or whatever, and if it's something that can't be used as testimony in court, then it wouldn't be used as testimony in court. But again, she talked about many other things and not just the steering wheel thing.
That's the degree the left and Democrats were willing to go to get President Trump, putting on the witness stand someone.
Is that Jordan's only tie over him? It says he might have some zip ties or whatever, but those are probably used for his other issues.
Everybody knows is making it up. Everybody knows that. And you were willing to do it. By the way, you know how many times Cassidy Hutchinson was mentioned in their report, the January 6th report? Any idea, Mr. Smith?
I do not.
No, but I think you're going to tell me.
185 times. Someone.
And not all of them were about the lunging incident.
That the whole country knows wasn't telling the truth, and you were still considering putting her on the witness stand because you had to get President Trump, and everybody can see that. We better take a recess for...
Everybody can see that, right? Everybody can see that. No, it's only the Republicans who want to, lie about everything that will make the claims that everybody should be able to see it, when in reality they don't, because you're an idiot. Next, let's go back to this window again. Open this back up and...
Well, thank you kindly, Mr. Chairman. I want to start by recognizing the presence of 4 American heroes here today, 4 of the hundreds of officers who defended us on January 6, 2021, Michael Fanone, Aquilino Gunnell, Daniel Hodges, and Harry Dunn. And I thank them for being here today. Mr. Smith, thank you for appearing before the American people. I'm glad that the committee has finally granted you the same chance to report your findings to the American people that every other special counsel investigating an American president has had. The good chairman started by saying it's all about the politics. Well, maybe for them, but for us, it's all about the rule of law and who's going to stand by the rule of law and who's going to oppose it.
Well, I mean, Donald Trump ran on for office saying that he was for law and order, right? So he must be somebody that supports law and order, right? Sorry, hard to say that with a straight face. Let's continue.
Now, Mr. Smith, you're one of America's great prosecutors. For nearly 3 decades, you worked for justice under both Republicans and Democrats. The Manhattan DA office, where you prosecuted sex crimes and domestic violence cases. The Eastern District of New York, where you prosecuted murderers, rapists, gangbangers, and other violent criminals, leading the public integrity section.
Who did he go after? Gangbangers?
Oh, my.
Sorry. Let's continue.
The Department of Justice, you brought prosecutions against corrupt public officials across the political spectrum. When you went to The Hague as chief prosecutor in the Kosovo trial, you prosecuted war crimes and crimes against humanity perpetrated against thousands of innocent victims. While others may have devoted their lives to corrupt self-enrichment, you have devoted your life to the rule of law and to public service. You've never been prosecuted for anything. You've never been convicted of anything. As far as I can tell, you've never even been the subject of a disciplinary proceeding.
Unlike Trump, he's not a man of convictions. Trump is a man of 34 convictions.
Over the course of your multi-decade career, but Donald Trump says you're a criminal and you belong in prison. He says you belong in prison, not because you did anything wrong, mind you, but because you did everything right. You pursued the facts, you followed the law, you stuck with extreme caution to every rule of professional responsibility. You had the audacity to do your job. Everybody here knows what you did wrong in Donald Trump's eyes and why he says you belong in prison.
It's because you challenged Donald Trump, and he doesn't like that.
You found, and I quote from your sworn testimony before the committee, you found proof beyond a reasonable doubt that President Trump engaged in a criminal scheme to overturn the results of the 2020 election and to prevent the lawful transfer of power. When asked whether you believe the evidence was enough to obtain a criminal conviction against Donald Trump at trial, you had a one-word answer: yes. When asked if Donald Trump was responsible for the violence that took...
Oh, but he was going to maybe bring up Cassidy Hutchinson, maybe, so that means he's all, there's nobody should believe him, right? Meanwhile, the Republicans continue to believe the lies that come spewing forth out of Donald Trump's mouth. Let's continue.
Took place at the Capitol on January 6th. You said our view of the evidence was that he caused it and that he exploited it and that it was foreseeable to him. You found that Trump knew he had lost the election. How? Well, his own Attorney General, William Barr, repeatedly told him so and described all of Trump's theories as BS. Trump's top campaign advisors told him he lost the election. Vice President Pence told him he lost the election. More than 60 federal, state, and court decisions, including 8 rendered by judges he appointed to the bench, rejected every outlandish election fraud and corruption claim that he made. Trump himself even privately acknowledged it, gesturing to Joe Biden on TV and saying, quote, "Can you believe I lost to that effing guy?" He knew he lost, but he threw everything into his big lie, which some people...
He threw everything, including the ketchup bottles, into his big lie.
People, even in this room to this day, will stand by and swear by. Well, when the big lie wasn't enough to convince officials like Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, a Republican, to commit election fraud and just fine Trump 11,780 votes, when it wasn't enough to convince Trump's DOJ to, quote, just call the election corrupt and leave the rest to me and the House Republicans, when it wasn't enough to force Vice President Mike Pence to announce and then exercise lawless powers to reject Electoral College votes and use counterfeit slates to anoint Trump the winner, that's when Trump incited mass violence on January 6th. While more than 140 officers were being brutally assaulted by Trump's mob, while rioters beat them.
Oh, I thought it was a day of peace, though. What, didn't Trump say it was a day of peace and other conservatives said it was a day of peace? Didn't they? Must not have watched the same videos I did.
With flagpoles and sprayed them with chemical agents and crushed them in doorways. And while they chanted, "Hang Mike Pence," and chased the vice president out of the Capitol, Trump and his team worked the phones, calling not the National Guard, which was under the direct unilateral control of Donald Trump, but calling members of Congress, urging them to delay certification and to nullify the election results.
But, he did nothing wrong, right, MAGA conservatives, right?
Special Counsel Smith, you pursued the facts. You followed every applicable law, ethics rule, and DOJ regulation. Your decisions were reviewed by the Public Integrity Section. You acted based solely on the facts, the opposite of Donald Trump, who now has purported to take over the Department of Justice. He's in charge of the whole thing under his unitary executive theory, and he acts openly, purely based on political vendetta and motives of personal revenge, and he doesn't deny it. Our colleagues have complained about the special counsel's review of toll records.
His colleagues are complicit with Donald Trump's lies. So,
which are phone records like a phone bill, showing only the timing and duration of calls and containing no content, no substance whatsoever from the calls. But those records were lawfully subpoenaed because Donald Trump made those members of Congress relevant to the investigation. It was Trump who chose to call them to advance his criminal scheme. As you testified, Mr. Smith, if Donald Trump had chosen to call a number of Democratic senators, we would have gotten toll records for them too. I trust our colleagues get the point because America certainly gets the point. There is much, Mr. Smith,
America has been getting a certain point in the end for the last year or so, right?
Still can't talk about, though we know he badly wants to. His investigation developed what he calls powerful evidence that Trump stole documents containing our country's most sensitive secrets, hoarded them in the ballrooms and the bathrooms of his well-trafficked Mar-a-Lago social club. He showed them off to visitors, and then he obstructed a federal investigation by instructing his attorney to pluck out anything really bad.
Donald Trump has described January 6th as a day of love when asked about U.S. Capitol riot during a campaign event just weeks before the president. Yeah, I mean, that's why I used the term. That was a day of love.
Before turning materials over to the FBI and having his staff delete incriminating security tape footage. But today, we're not going to hear a lot about that because you are gagged by an absurd judicial order rendered faithfully by Trump's most servile and sycophantic appointee to the federal bench, Judge Eileen Cannon. This order not only blocks release of Volume 2 of your report, which is unprecedented, about the classified document scam, it also gags you from discussing the report or its contents with us, with America. And so we don't know what's in it, but it must be pretty devastating because Donald Trump is desperate to keep Mr. Smith or any other DOJ official for all time from ever releasing it to Congress and to the American people.
Yep.
Now, Mr. Smith, if any of our colleagues foolishly choose to attack you and vilify you today, and I know that's not going to happen from some serious prosecutors over there.
Yeah, sure.
Like Mr. Knott and Mr. Schmidt, who understand what federal prosecutors do and what the rule of law means. But if anybody decides to attack you personally, they will only be revealing their own ignorance of what prosecutors do and their own indifference to what the rule of law requires in America. They will only be stroking the wounded ego of a lawless...
Stroking what?
Oh, my.
I'm sorry, never mind.
Twice impeached, convicted felon president who not only unleashed a mob against Congress and his own vice president, but is now pardoned and released into our communities hundreds of extremists, insurrectionists, and cop-beating felons who have proceeded to commit dozens more crimes against the American people since they were pardoned. Mr. Smith, I understand you are a long-distance marathon runner. I read that you're a triathlete who's done more than 100 triathlons and
Learn something new every day, I suppose.
9 Ironman competitions. You are in the fight for justice and the rule of law for the long distance, for the long haul, and I thank you for that. And we should all try to follow your example. America looks forward to your testimony today. I yield back to you.
I yield back my time. I yield it back. All right. Let's go to Daryl Issa. This piece of crap, this scumbag here.
Do you see
Issa.
criminals to my left? You don't see any. Do you see people who are committing crimes because they continue to believe things that just aren't true? That's paraphrasing Ronald Reagan, that liberals...
Yeah, things are definitely upside down, Suzanne.
Liberals aren't stupid. They just know things that don't happen to be true. If the president believed that he was cheated in an election, that there was fraud, or in some other way a number of items led to his defeat, when in fact he should have won according to the Constitution.
Bullshit.
Does that make him a criminal?
Sir,
No, that's a yes or no. Please, Mr. Smith.
And this is one of the problems with the conservatives, is they insist that everything has to be a yes or no answer when the questions that they ask are not yes or no answers. Sometimes they have nuance. Sometimes they need expanding beyond a simple yes or no. But the poorly educated that Donald Trump said he loved after the 2016 Nevada primaries can't handle nuance. They can't handle complex questions. So they can only handle simple questions. So everything has to be shoehorned as a yes or no, even when yes or no isn't appropriate or valid. Let's continue.
These people here are continuing to grapple constantly with things that aren't true, like socialism works, or that somehow everything the Republicans do is evil and everything they do is right.
Who is this Stepford wife behind Issa here holding up this sign? Jesus.
They've never reached a conclusion in a typical partisan case in which we're not evil because we think something different and we're not wrong.
It's not just thinking something different that makes you evil. It's what you think differently is what makes you evil. Just saying.
You understand the Constitution. Do you understand the Bill of Rights?
Do you understand the Constitution or Bill of Rights, Congressperson Issa?
It's that someone has the absolute right to believe something, whether it's true or not, and to advocate for something, whether it's true or not. Do you understand that in addition to your oath to the Constitution...
advocating for something, whether or not true or not, is different than taking up arms and joining an insurrection against the Capitol, you dumbass.
That's one of the things the First Amendment allows for, isn't it?
Mr. Spock, do you have a cat cam? Now, usually the only cat cam is right up here, and that's when the cat decides to jump up on the shoulders. So, to in particular, almost seen Democrats yes or no when questioning Republicans because they won't answer the question Gish Gallop.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you know that people have a right to opine, lobby for, assert, do everything they can legally to ask for people to make different decisions.
But you can't violate the law in doing so. Just because you're asking them to do something doesn't mean you're actually following the law, because other actions then become relevant. You dummy.
Then why is it you saw criminal conduct on behalf of a president who believed he didn't win? Chairman George.
Because it was criminal conduct. Believing he didn't win is one thing. Acting on it in such a way to try and steal the election away from the American people is quite another.
Gordon and myself have something in common along with a number of others here. We saw wrongdoing, and on January 6th, we voted not to confirm 2 states because they had violated the U.S. Constitution in how they selected who got ballots. And yet, you're going to come here and say, oh,
Wait, yeah, like the way Dems covered for Al Franken. What's that? Was that his name? You guys know how many? I mean, we know who Al Franken is, but there are people who tried to throw Al Franken onto the, under the bus or over the railing or whatever you want to say they called him, just because accusations were made that were unfounded. So, as Trumpy boy says,
it is what it is.
Thank you, Donald.
He just followed the law. When you went after these people and you said, well, technically I can do that, you didn't see any selective nature or any separation of powers under the...
So you're not allowed as a special prosecutor to go after people if they happen to be all part of the same party? Is that what you're trying to say, Congressperson Issa? Because that would be mind-numbingly stupid if you said that. Let's continue.
Constitution to spying on the activities and the conversations of the Speaker of the House. To what end would conversations between the Speaker of the U.S. House, third or second in line to be the President, and the President, in what basis would it be any of your business other than you believe that there was a conspiracy without conspiracy as a basic premise?
It was, and the facts show it. You just don't want to listen to it because you want to stick your fingers in your ears and go, la, 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 not listening, la, 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 la. Because y'all are, because the conservatives in Congress and the MAGA folks are just a bunch of childish kindergartners.
You, like the president's men for Richard Nixon, went after your political enemies. Maybe they're not your political enemies.
No, that's exactly what Trump's doing. But let's continue.
But they sure as hell were Joe Biden's political enemies, weren't they? They were Harris's political enemies. They were the enemies of the president, and you were their arm, weren't you?
No.
No. Oh, great. So you spied on the Speaker of the House and these other senators and so on, and informed no one, and in fact put in a gag order so they couldn't discover it. If they were not subjects of a conspiracy investigation, why did Congress, a separate branch that you, under the Constitution, have to respect, why is it that no one should be informed, including the judges? As you went in to spy on these people, did you mention that you were spying on seeking records so you could find out about when conversations occurred between the U.S. Speaker of the House and the President? Did you inform the judge, or did you hold that back?
My office didn't spy on anyone.
Wait a second. The question I asked you.
Yes, he already asked you. He asked that if he spied on him. So yeah, whatever. Words have meaning, Issa.
You, Mr. Smith, was pretty straightforward. Did you withhold that information from an Article III judge in the process of taking the records of the Speaker of the House?
We complied with Department.
Did you hold back
Mr. Chairman,
that
would you please instruct the gentleman to allow the witness to answer the questions?
It's not your time. I'd like my time back.
Mr. Chairman,
I want my time back. Please give me my time back. Crybaby.
You've repeatedly done that in the past.
Isn't he a corrupt person too? What were the crimes that Darrell Issa did? Let's see. Darrell Issa has faced allegations of criminal activity, including car theft and arson in his past, particularly during the 1970s and in his 1998 Senate run. These accusations, which he denied or were dismissed, arose from incidents involving his brother's criminal history and a car dealership fire. He also pled guilty to carrying a concealed weapon. As a congressman, he was focused on investigating federal programs and challenging the Obama administration. Well, that's, whatever, but that's an old thing from the AI or whatever. But, hey, let's, I guess, is Issa trying to say that he knows best because he also knows how to be a criminal?
Witness has the right to answer the question.
And there'll be due time to answer the question. Would you?
Hey, TV2 Live, good to see you. As I'm sitting here trying to fight, going to sleep because I'm tired, but we're going to try and make it through as much of these things as possible.
Please put my time back and let me finish this.
Give me my time back. You took my time, you big meanie.
Mr. Smith, I asked you a question and you were not responsive to it, and I want you to be responsive to it.
Answer my question, man.
Did you, whether you think it was legal or not, whether you think it was right or not, did you withhold the name of Kevin McCarthy, Speaker of the House, when you were seeking records on Kevin McCarthy, the Speaker of the House, or Jim Jordan, the chairman of this committee?
At the time the gentleman is...
No, please give me back the time that was taken away.
Time has expired, but we're going to let the witness answer your question because it's an important question. The witness can respond.
We did not provide that information to the judge when we requested a nondisclosure order, consistent with the law and consistent with Department
Mr. Chairman, the amazing...
Oh, no, he followed the law. That's what they don't like, because they only like people who don't follow the law, like the 34-time convicted felon, Donald Trump.
The amazing thing here today is that we have an admission that an article...
Mr. Chairman, the gentleman's time has expired by now 34 seconds.
It gets more than 5 minutes.
How many times are you going to interrupt me?
The time belongs to the gentleman from California, but it has expired.
I will be brief in my address to the chairman.
Clown show. The whole GOP Congress is a clown show.
We have the evidence that an article...
What the hell is that dude doing? Is he having issues trying to get around the sign?
One representative...
I saw the sign.
On behalf of the president withheld that Article 3.
Issa's going to be like, this man stepped in front of my sign for 2 seconds. I need my 2 seconds back so people can see my fancy-ass sign. Boo-hoo.
Chairman, I witness granted the same leniency.
And with that, I yield back in disgust of this witness.
Wait just a second.
I yield back in disgust of this. I am disgusted of this witness. Oh no. Boo-hoo. Let's look at Jayapal and see what Representative Jayapal had to say, because we're basically going to go back and forth between Republican and Democrat as we go through this. And again, we're not doing it in any particular order. We're just grabbing a couple of the highlights or whatever to go over this, because again, I had no intention to go over this, regardless of how tired I am. I had no desire to go over this whole thing, the entire hours and hours and hours of testimony. That was not going to happen. Ooh, we might have a kitty coming too, though. Kitty might have to say hello. Say hello to Kitty when she comes in. Come here, Rose. You want to come see? You want to come see the people? You want to show them your butt like you like to do? Come on. Come on. Come on. Let's see you, Rose. Hello, Rosie Posey. Look at my baby. Oh, jumping away. Run away. Poor Rosie Posey. Anyway, let's hear.
For coming here today. Your willingness to speak directly to us and to the American people about your investigation is professional, it's courageous, and it's patriotic. It's high time that the American people hear directly from you about the results of your investigation of President Donald Trump for his criminal actions.
Investigations, of course, Judge Eileen Cannon has prevented some of that conversation going forward. That's why, though, I have another one, I guess, next month at some point. I don't know, but we'll see.
Leading up to and the day of January 6th.
250 kill him. Congressman Issa looks like a mobster. I mean, yeah.
2021. The facts, according to your report, are simple. Without a single piece of evidence, Trump sowed doubt about the 2020 election results and urged his followers to, quote, walk down to the Capitol and fight like hell on
Because it would be wild.
January 6th. And that's exactly what they did. Thousands of insurrectionists, violent...
Steve, freaking cats, thanks for not playing along. Again, Daddy loves you. Yes. I mean, she's like, there are 3 different cats. There's Sophia, who will let you pick her up, no problem. Then there's Rose, who will only want to be snuggled if she wants to be snuggled, but will jump on your shoulders maybe sometimes. And then there's Gloria, who runs away every time she sees people, except for my wife. There's a picture, I walked in and like, Gloria was being snuggled, like spooned by my wife. That's how snuggled up Gloria was next to my wife, but she'll never come snuggle next to me. Makes me a sad cat daddy.
Tried to stop Congress from certifying the 2020 election and doing our duty, and they assaulted law enforcement officers, some of whom are sitting right here in the chamber with us.
Oh, but it was a day of peace and a day of love, there was 1 or 2 police officers who let him in, so therefore all of the people were fine, right? All these assholes supporting these, domestic terrorists just disgusts me.
I was trapped in the House gallery with a small number of members that day, and I will never forget the pounding on the doors and the insurrectionists threatening to kill us right outside.
Yes, DPD. Orange kitties are very special. And yes, we do have a rare female orange kitty cat.
Republican colleagues keep trying to rewrite history. They claim that somehow Trump's words and actions did not legally rise to the level of criminal activity, that he did not directly cause violence at the Capitol. And so I want to set that record straight with you right now. First of all, you successfully secured indictments against Donald Trump in 2 major federal cases.
See, Jojo Mojo, lots of love. Jolie, Dan, and everyone, be safe. I've been sick and still trying to work because too poor to take care of medical leave. It's hard for me to watch anything anymore. It's overwhelming. Well, feel better, Jojo Mojo. Appreciate you stopping by. Josh, Dan should get a couple of Rottweilers to go with the cats. I do have 2 labs. I have a brown lab, that's a tripod. He only has 3 legs. And then I have a white lab. So I do have the labs. And Rose actually is like the one that hangs out and actually is the nicest to the dogs, because Gloria, the calico, she will run away from them. Sophia will attack the dogs. This tiny little kitty will go attack both Labradors and just be a bully. And then Rose, who will stand there and perhaps let them sniff, and if they get too close or too aggressive, she will run away. But, anyway.
Interference in the 2020 election and mishandling of classified documents after leaving office. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you've been a federal...
That's how you ask a yes or no question. You ask it, it's a solid question, and you could simply say yes to it instead of having to give these dumbass questions that the Republicans give. Do I have a meth lab? No, I don't have a meth lab. Just a white lab and a brown one. Although one of my former coworkers used to also joke around that I had a meth lab too. So hopefully YouTube doesn't not misunderstand that joke.
Prosecutor for nearly 30 years. You led this investigation, combing through hundreds of thousands of documents, photos, videos, and communication. Did your investigation find that Donald Trump attempted to manufacture fraudulent slates of presidential electors in 7 states that he lost?
Yes.
Again, very straightforward question, very straightforward answer. This is how you ask a yes or no question. But the Republicans will ask an open-ended question and then stop the people from answering it. This is how, again, what is it? There are Democrats here today who couldn't actually believe that the Republicans allowed this to happen because of how shitty they looked, how bad they looked today. So, yeah, Republicans ask leading questions trying to get you very badly. Yes. No one asks worse questions than the Republicans. Not one bit.
Did he pressure state officials to ignore true vote counts in those states?
Yes.
Yes.
Did he spread lies and conspiracies to his followers to make them believe that the election had been illegally rigged against him?
Yes.
Did he pressure DOJ officials to stop the certification of the election?
No, just kidding. Yes.
He did.
That would, oh, he answered he did that time. But it would have been funny if it would have been like, no, sorry, I'm just joking. Yes, he did.
Did he pressure his own vice president, Mike Pence, to stop the certification against the oath of office that he had sworn to the Constitution?
He did.
And when all of this didn't work, did he, Donald Trump, motivate and inspire an angry mob to the U.S. Capitol to stop the certification?
Our proof showed that he caused what happened on January 6th, that it was foreseeable, and that he exploited that violence.
Did Donald?
Well, because he said, come down that day. It'll be wild, right? It'll be wild.
Donald Trump know that his allegations of election fraud were lies when he spread them?
Our proof was that he did, and we intended to prove that at trial.
In fact, as the quotes from your report behind me show, he even privately admitted that he lost the election.
See, Trump's a family member. It doesn't matter if you won or lost the election. You still have to fight it like hell. Trump to staffer when President-elect Biden appeared on TV. Can you believe I lost to this effing guy? So, yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
He said, quote, it doesn't matter if you won or lost the election. You have to fight like hell. And he said, can you believe I lost to this effing guy?
These two over here, this guy looks like he's very angry for some reason. Like, what the hell's going on with him? And this guy looks like he's very stoned for some reason. What the hell's going on with this guy? Anyway, let's continue.
During your closed-door deposition last month, you and I had an exchange about the impact on our democracy, the toll on our democracy for not holding a president accountable for trying to steal an election. Do you remember that exchange?
I do.
I want to return to it because I think what you said in the closed-door deposition is important for the American people to hear right here in your public testimony. How would you describe the toll on our democracy if we do not hold a president accountable for attempting to steal an election?
My belief is that if we do not hold the most powerful people in our society to the same standards of the rule of law, it can be catastrophic because if they don't have to follow the law, it's very easy to understand why people would think they don't have to follow the law as well. And so I think the law should be applied equally to everyone.
And what do you think the toll is for future elections and future presidents who try to steal an election?
I think if we don't hold people to account when they commit crimes, it sends a message that those crimes are...
It's tacit approval, as one might say.
...are okay, that our society accepts that. I believe that if...
250 kilo, the guys on the right look like the Menendez brothers, except these guys aren't in prison. But, you know, maybe they feel like it today, having to deal with all these Republican jackasses. Let's continue.
We don't call people to account when they commit crimes in this context. It can endanger our election process. It can endanger election workers. And ultimately, our democracy. The attack on this Capitol on January 6th was, and the Court of Appeals in Washington, D.C. said this, it was an attack on the structure of our democracy.
And we could experience much worse results down the road if this happens again. I thank you for your work, for your courage, and for your patriotism, and I yield back.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? I think this is the one I want to watch first. I'm going to jump to this one and then come back to the other ones, shall we?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, 5 hours later, here we are. One of the benefits of being a freshman member of this committee with the least amount of seniority is you get the benefit of getting everybody else listen to them talk first.
Well, you know, maybe you get to learn something from it, or maybe you just get to learn how to be a bigger douchebag since you're a Republican, and that's what the Republicans do, even though we are going to have some whatever. Anyway, let's continue.
I'm going to start by saying that starting out, I was not...
Erin says she would rather have 6 inches of 6 inches of snow. I'm sorry, my bad.
Oh my!
Real familiar with this issue. In fact, when chairman of the committee,
let's roll back a second because we need to listen to this part because this is the part that just absolutely this part absolutely flabbergasted me earlier today. This part absolutely flabbergasted me. My flabbers were gasted.
Starting out, I was not real familiar with this issue. In fact, when chairman of the committee told me we had Jack Smith coming in. My first response privately was, who's Jack Smith?
If I were you, I would have kept this private. How can you be a sitting member of the House of Representatives and not know who the hell Jack Smith is? How can you be involved politically at all and not understand who Jack Smith is? Like, how sheltered of a life are you? And how can you possibly represent your district if you don't even know that little teeny tiny bit of information?
And I say that because my wife and I have 5 young children. We don't have cable.
5 young children isn't going to prevent you from knowing things. Oh, they don't have cable, though. I guess that's, he can't watch the news, I guess. I mean, do you have rabbit ears?
Television, and by the time we get them to bed, we're either watching Netflix or better yet, reading books.
My wife and I like to Netflix and chill, so therefore we don't have time to look at things on politically when it comes to, our TV time.
So when I came to this, I wanted to take a real honest look at what had happened. And
if you're a Republican, I really disbelieve that you are taking an honest look at anything, but let's continue.
Also say that, a little about what I think happened on January 6th. I think, like most Americans, think Donald Trump was cruising to re-election in 2019 with the booming economy, and then COVID happened, George Floyd happened, a lot of things got changed. But I do think in those circumstances that Joe Biden won that election. I also think, like most Americans, that January 6th...
At least he was a Republican willing to say that Joe Biden won the election.
...was a terrible attack. I think it was a terrible riot. I don't believe it was an insurrection determined...
well, that's your problem, but, it was.
...to overthrow the government, but I think it was an important day for America. I also
J.D. Christie, I live under a rock, in a cave, on Mars.
I think, like most Americans, it was extremely unfortunate for this country that the January 6th committee was a partisan event, and there was not an ability to put folks from both sides of their choosing on that committee, so there could have been a full and honest debate for the American people. I think it was politically motivated.
The J6 committee had Republicans on it, you dumb motherfucker.
What Nancy Pelosi did with that committee. And so when I came to this...
Nancy Pelosi didn't chair that committee, you dumb motherfucker.
This issue with a fresh look, with those kind of my priors and what I got into, what I wanted to find was that in the goodness of the rule of law, that you as an investigator carried this out to the highest ideals, that it was not a politically motivated investigation. And I think a lot about that in the 250th anniversary of America. And I think about what the framers would have thought of this and the state of the rule of law, what makes America special with checks and balances.
What makes us special? All the helmets that we're wearing, apparently.
What keeps us from being a banana republic. But what I was disappointed to find when I looked into this issue and how you conducted the...
When I looked at the issue as somebody who doesn't watch TV and doesn't know who the hell this person is...
investigation was that it was a politically motivated investigation determined to influence the election in 20...
Just because that's what y'all do, that doesn't mean that's what Jack Smith was doing. It doesn't mean what we do, because y'all are hypocrites and every conservative accusation is a confession.
24. And I say that, and the thing I cannot get around as I look into this is the timing.
Round, round, get around, I get around, yeah.
That you fought for in when the court cases would be held. Now, to my understanding, the Department of Justice says you're not supposed to have politically motivated timing of a court case. But when I look at the timing that you pushed for and the jurisdictions between New York and Florida, and with all the other things that President Trump was engaged in, that looks very politically motivated to me, and I think the American...
Well, just because you think it's politically motivated doesn't mean that it is, you dummy.
...people as they take a look at this issue to try to influence the election. So that's where I come down after today's hearing, my own independent investigation, and your commentary. I sincerely hope that conclusion is incorrect, but that's the conclusion I come to. And I think when most people, if they look through this not through a partisan lens, I think they'll come to, they will not be able to get around the fact of how you timed these elections. I think that's really to the...
Nope, the only people who are looking at this with the partisan lens are the ones who are saying that this was timed specifically and not timed to do, just because that's when the information was coming in, and therefore he was going to get an indictment because he needed time to research and do all that stuff. Happened to be a coincidence, not causation.
Detriment of the American Republic and for where we sit today as a country. And so my one question for you, Jack Smith, is are you familiar?
All this time with your 5 minutes to question Jack Smith, and not, you're going to ask one question. I guess that's why you're a freshman congressperson. Hopefully you won't be a sophomore.
With the Vietnamese city of Ben Tre.
I am not.
Well, Ben Tre was the site of an intense firefight in early 1968. And after that intense firefight that destroyed the town, a reporter from the Associated Press interviewed a U.S. major, and he said it became necessary to destroy the village in order to save it. Now, historians do not know what was the name of that U.S. major, but I think when they look back at your engagement with our democracy in this republic.
Well, I'm surprised that a Republican likes to know and knows anything about a U.S. major, because these folks protect Donald Trump and all the other people who typically tend to like U.S. minors. Thank you. I'll be here all week, or for at least a couple minutes at least. Anyway, so we already talked about that one. So let's stroll backwards through this. Jasmine Crockett. We can't do without Jasmine Crockett now, shan't we?
Can I get an extra 33 seconds?
You get your full 5 minutes.
Well, okay, fine.
I mean, just starting off brilliantly. Can I get an extra 33 seconds referring back to what, Mr. Jim Jordan had to say earlier, and him getting the 33 seconds. I love Congresswoman Crockett's pettiness. It's beautiful. I would love one day to see President Crockett. Let's continue.
It's curious because you've sat here all day, and thank you so much for showing up, because this was something that you wanted to do. The Republicans wanted to make sure that you were hid in a room with no cameras, because I was there. They didn't really want you out public because they were afraid of what you would say, which is that you could have proven your case because you are a career prosecutor who knows how to prosecute criminals.
Yes, that's what he was. Thank you, Representative Crockett.
So
I mean, look, I will pick on my side too when they make obvious comments that are obvious.
Just to be clear, today it seems like the Republicans have not really fought very much about whether or not Trump was guilty or not. In fact, their fight seems to be over whether or not you were authorized to prove their guilt. Do you recall a number of Republican members asking about whether or not your appointment was okay, even though we know that you've testified about the more than 100-year precedent that allowed for your appointment?
I was asked questions about that today, and our position, as we filed in our appeal, is that there was strong support for my appointment, including Supreme Court precedent directly on point.
Thank you so much. Additionally, everybody's been all gingerly here today, but I don't know why we're acting surprised that a man who had close to 90 allegations out of 4 different jurisdictions and ultimately ended up with 34 convictions after a jury was able to hear all the evidence would possibly be committing a criminal act on January 6th. In fact, considering the fact that...
Not Donnie Boy. Donnie Boy wouldn't be a criminal and do anything. He's a good boy, right? Ugh. I can't even say that with a straight face.
We are now under the impression that he is violating people's due process rights. He is ignoring court orders. He's starting wars without congressional authority in contradiction to the Constitution. He's enriching himself to the tune of over $1.4 billion. He's shaking down electeds to draw maps that will help him stay in power because the Republicans don't understand that they swore an oath to the Constitution and that we are supposed to do checks and balances. He's also shaking down TV stations to get money. So why are we trying to pretend as if it is out of the realm for this particular man to commit the crime that he committed on January 6th, and frankly, the only reason he ran for president was to make sure that he would not be prosecuted, because I
exactly
fully believe that you would have put him under the jail based on our long-form conversation that we had. But according to your special counsel report on page 137, It states the department's view that the Constitution prohibits the continued indictment and prosecution of a president is categorical and does not turn on the gravity of the crimes charged, the strength of the government's proof, or the merits of the prosecution, and that, quote, but for Mr. Trump's election and imminent return to the presidency, the office assessed that the admissible evidence was sufficient to obtain and sustain a conviction at trial. In other words, Donald Trump ran for president, like I said, so he wouldn't have to spend the rest of his life in prison. The chairman and other members of this committee have spent all day attacking you and trying to rewrite the history of January 6th. But Mr. Jim Jordan, the chairman, failed to mention how he was running around the Capitol terrified by the possibility that all those insurrectionists would harm him. In fact, on page 97 of the deposition transcript, you mentioned how Mark Meadows, the president's chief of staff, quote unquote, never saw Jim Jordan so scared. The chairman also failed to mention that he was in direct contact with the White House in the days leading up to and on January 6th, which is why his toll records were subpoenaed by your office. Let me be clear, because they're trying to act like this is Democrats.
Oh, they were all upset about the toll records, let me tell you.
On Republicans, and I guess you are a covert Democrat that knew that he was going to try to steal an election before he tried to steal that election, and so therefore you were somehow put into place. I mean, the conspiracy theories make your head spin, but nevertheless, were you going to subpoena the toll records of every single...
Hold on. Big Cook says Mitch McConnell said he was guilty. Actually, Mitch McConnell's like, he was guilty. I think that we can still this with the courts. We shouldn't be doing the impeachment. I am Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Thank you for your time and your support. Anyway, let's continue.
Republicans simply because they were a Republican?
No. We subpoenaed the toll records in the course of this investigation because they were relevant to our investigation.
Relevant?
Shocked, I say. How dare he do something relevant to the investigation that he's trying to bring a lawsuit about. Right?
Oh, okay. All right, so that means something about facts. So let's talk about facts. Donald Trump lost to Joe Biden, yes or no?
That's correct.
Okay. In fact, 60 federal and state courts have found that there was no evidence of election fraud. Trump's own attorney general and vice president knew that he lost the election, but he still tried to steal the election by pressuring state officials, designing fake elector plans, nearly having Mike Pence hanged, and ultimately demanding that his supporters...
Was it really nearly, though? I mean, they didn't actually have him on the gallows, but I guess threatening to hang him with the gallows erected is close enough, right?
Quote, fight like hell, correct?
Correct.
We all saw it happen once they reached...
Hey, Jeff says, Jolie, I'm in a bad mood. Why? Because he can't make jokes anymore, apparently. So that's probably why he's in a bad mood. All the jokes are getting built up in his head, and one day he's just going to let out a string of jokes and expletives. Anyway.
We all saw what happened once they reached the U.S. Capitol. As your report outlines, President Trump knew that he would incite violence at the Capitol that day. In fact, some of Trump's senior advisors were pushing for violence. For example, page 81 of the report details how co-conspirators number 2, John Eastman, tried to convince Mike Pence to break the law, stating that, quote, violence was necessary. So it isn't just Trump who is responsible for the death of multiple law enforcement officers and the injuries of thousands of people. A lot of Republican members of Congress are also responsible. 147 Republicans voted to overturn the 2020 election results, including multiple members currently serving on this committee, and I will yield.
Wait just a second.
Wait, no, we're going away again. We're not waiting just a second again. We're yielding again. Let's see, do we want Fitzgerald? Do we want that one? We'll listen to Fitzgerald.
Mr. Smith, there's something that's really bothering me since your deposition. It's how and why you...
Hey, gin up the bass. Gin up the bass. Gin up the bass. There you go. That's how it's pronounced, I'm sure. How are you doing today?
Got the position of special counsel. And your personal relationship with Marshall Miller.
Marshall Miller? Is that Eminem? I'm Slim Shady. Yes, I'm the real Shady. Oh, that's Marshall Mathers. I'm sorry. My bad. Let's continue.
Let's go back to 1999 when you were working for the United States Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of New York. Is that when you first met Marshall Miller?
Yes.
So after ED New York, did the two of you ever work together again prior to becoming special counsel? According to the public bios for you and Mr. Miller, you overlapped at DOJ from 2014-15 when you were chief of DOJ's Public Integrity Section and Mr. Miller was chief of staff for DOJ's Criminal Division. Is that accurate?
I believe that is accurate, yes.
Okay, so were the two of you social outside of work?
I would say intermittently, yes.
Okay, but after 20 years of knowing each other, it's safe to say you were friends, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And how dare a friend get a job for another friend? How dare they?
So let's fast forward to 2022. Mr. Miller is appointed Principal Associate Deputy Attorney General at DOJ, the number 3 at DOJ. You call your friend to congratulate him, and according to the deposition transcript, you say you'd be interested in a position at DOJ. Is that correct?
Yes. What I recall is that I expressed an interest if the right position came up, I would be interested in considering.
But at that point, there's no discussion about...
Yes, the Republicans, Jeanette Bass, are almost impossible to listen to. Hell, some of them are impossible to live in. This one was tough to watch in and of itself, but...
Special counsel, is that correct?
This is some time ago, and so I don't have a specific...
It's a long, long time ago. Anyway.
Recollection of all these conversations.
So you were first approached about special counsel and that role before the 22 midterm elections. And according to the deposition transcript, in October of 2022, you fly to D.C., meet with the AG and the Deputy Attorney General. Is that correct?
Yes, I flew to D.C., I believe it was in October, and I met the Deputy Attorney General, and also I met the Attorney.
And what plane was it? What type of plane? How many seats were empty? Answer all my questions. I demand them answered, says the Republicans all over the place.
Attorney General.
So in multiple conversations with your friend Marshall Miller, he never once tipped you off that the Attorney General or Deputy Attorney General have you on the short list for special counsel? That never came up?
Again, this was some time ago, but my recollection is I came to Washington and I met with those individuals as well as the Human Rights Section. Marshall Miller is the person who set that up.
So he was at the meetings. Was he at the meetings?
Dun, dun, dun. He was at the meetings.
Just to tie all this together, you've known Mr. Miller since you were both...
Let's tie it up in a nice little bow.
Both AUSA in New York. You stayed in touch over a 20-year career in federal government. He gets a...
Wait, Jeff, what do you call a group of witches? It's a coven, right? Isn't that what you call a group of witches? Is a coven?
Job with the Biden administration, and just a few short months later, you're offered the role of special counsel. I'm having a hard time believing that this is some big coincidence and that they're...
Why? I mean, they're really reaching here. I mean, really reaching hard. Like, oh, I knew the guy who hired me, so therefore it's corrupt. Or I'm somehow not biased, or I am biased or whatever because my friend picked me for the job because he thought I would be the best for the job, including having the temperament and, ability to be nonpartisan like the job requires. But, hey, you do you, right?
There wasn't a back and forth on the special counsel. So maybe you never received directives explicitly from the AG or the Deputy Attorney General, but was Marshall Miller, did he become a two-way conduit throughout the investigation with DOJ?
No, and I would not take direction from a political person, a political figure, about how I should conduct an investigation.
But you never spoke to him throughout the entire time you were conducting an investigation?
No, I didn't say that. What I said was...
Okay.
Exactly. They're going to twist and contort and lie and cheat and steal and all the other fun stuff that they do.
That he was, I think you asked if he was a conduit of information. He was present, to my recollection, at meetings, briefings that I had with the Attorney General and Deputy Attorney General during my time as special counsel.
I mean, I don't want to assume anything, but Mr. Miller wanted you in that position, not because you're necessarily the best lawyer he ever met, but because of the long-term friendship that you have with him.
Oh, no. Because that friendship, he knew he might have been right for the job. Shocker, shocker. How terrible of them. Let's only hire people that we don't know, and, you know, we can't verify anything about them. Let's just hire people off the streets who are complete strangers and let that be it, right? Is that what they want? Morons.
What I can tell you is I have been a prosecutor for 30 years. I have been an apolitical public servant for 30 years. I've prosecuted cases against...
Reminds me of the Werner von Braun song. Some say that he's hypocritical. Say rather that he's apolitical. Once the rockets come up, because where they come down, it's not my department, says Werner von Braun.
Democrats and Republicans, all the same. I've had, in my view, the experience necessary for this position, and that's why I accepted it.
So he knew that you would pursue, I mean, he had to have an idea.
I mean, if they hired you for a job, the specific job of special prosecutor, they knew you would pursue that job of special prosecutor, right? I mean, come on. This isn't that difficult, you dumb MFer.
You would pursue exactly what the Biden administration wanted, which was criminal charges against President Trump.
And this is the other thing that conservatives don't understand. When the Republicans are in charge, especially when Donald Trump is in charge, the Attorney General is his own personal attorney. But when it's the Democrats are involved, the Attorney General is the general, or is the attorney of the entire populace. So there's more independence in Democratic administrations for the Department of Justice than there's independence for people who are on the right. Right?
I think that anybody who knows me well knows the idea that I would take direction from a political figure about how an investigation should come out. I don't think anybody who knows me thinks that's true.
Well, Chairman Jordan, I think the next step...
Well, I don't know you, so I'm going to say it's false.
...position should be with Marshall Miller at this point. I yield back.
Hey, just a minute before you move on. I want to say thank you for watching and for...
I'm moving on. Sorry for moving on there. This one just starts off hilarious. I think I only played this one for the beginning, but
I mean, we're definitely not in a court of law today. Half this shit wouldn't come in if we were. I mean, good God. You know, I want to talk about something one of my colleagues...
Of course, we can applaud him for this, but I think he was still part of that, gang of whatever that enabled the healthcare stuff to pass without actually getting subsidies. So, but anyway, let's continue.
Mr. Nelson from Texas, he sits on this new January 6th subcommittee, which I also happen to sit on. And he said the same thing in the subcommittee the other week, that it wasn't President Trump that inspired January 6th, right? It wasn't him. He said in the subcommittee that it was actually Ray Epps. Ray Epps. He was the one who told people to...
I didn't want to go too much into the Ray Epps thing because it's all freaking stupid, but I did want to have that initial comment that he had because I thought it was funny. Let's see. Representative Klein. We watched that one. You know what? I'm literally about to just go. So I think I need to call this one a night. So we're gonna end early. We're not gonna subject any more of this committee hearing on all of it's available online, and you know what I'm gonna say. But again, it was a very long day. I'm very tired, and I think I'm going to take an early step away from the show just to go ahead and get some early shut eye, yada yada. I might have to also have some dinner too because I'm kind of starving as well. But thank everybody for showing up again here on Thursday. We did do an hour and a half, right? So not that terrible, or maybe at least an hour and 20 minutes. So not that bad. But thanks everybody. Remember, if you haven't smashed the like button yet, smash that like button on the way out. Go comment, help the algorithm. Al Gore needs more rhythm. Do all the good stuff. Thank you all very much. Appreciate you. Peace.
They wrote it in the laws, ink still bleeds, treating women like soil, just planting seeds. She's gone, brain dead, not even awake, but the state's got a claim, gonna plant its stake. Say it's God's will, say it's life they protect, but they ain't the ones feeling pain or neglect. From Texas to Georgia, they set the trap, rights roll back while they smile and clap. Gilead's here, this is true. Hey MAGA fools, they'll come for you too. So I'm gonna see you later. I'm not gonna be a baby incubator. ain't pro-life, it's control and shame. They don't care if she's gone, just playing a game. Keep her hooked to machines, cold and still, just a vessel to them, not a human with will. No consent, no voice, no chance to resist. Just laws in place, written with a clenched fist. Hospitals scared, judges playing God. Bodies ain't temples, just state-owned pods. Gilead's here, this is true. Hey, MAGA fools, they'll come for you too. So I'm gonna jet, see you later. I'm not gonna be a baby incubator. Bands in the dark, they don't care who it kills. Sacking courts while they strip out all of your wills. But we'll fight back, march loud, burn bright. Cause this ain't the end, it's the start of the fight. Gilead's here, ain't no grace. And those leopards are coming to eat your face. So I'm gonna jet, see you later. I'm not gonna be a baby incubator. Not gonna be a baby incubator. Not gonna be a baby incubator.
Obama and Bush's pictures got hidden, obscuring the past, history rewritten. Hung in a hallway where no tour can see, confirming his unending fragility. If Trump can't see it, you must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. Object permanent, a milestone missed. If Trump can't see it, he must not exist. Stop the testing was the line that he said. Hundreds of thousands needlessly dead. Now HHS is run by brainworm quack, hiding the truth behind it. Don't get it, it must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. An administration run by narcissists. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. Of documents stacked floor to the wall, top secret folders in a bathroom stall. Charges were pressed but the case was dropped. A corrupt judicial system he can co-opt. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. He'll swear it's fake news, a liberal twist. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. Downtown tents lining the street. Invisible people that power won't be. Hide them away so the cameras can't find it. Proof of a system that's cold and unkind. A payout in secret, an NDA sign, an illegal bribe. Michael Cohen fine. Trump got fined too over his gag order, but she didn't gag cause he was much shorter. It must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. We can't let him win, we must resist. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist.